Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Beauty Uncovered. And today, this is a very special guest. We have Tracey Cunningham today. And for those of you that don't know of Tracey, basically, Tracey clients are among the most sought after women of stage and screen. From J-Lo to Drew Barrymore, Charlize Theron to Toni Collette, Jennifer Garner to Jessica Biel. She treats her clients like family who have been guided and styled by her for years. And now, with the release of her new book, True Colors, we all get to be guided by her brilliance. So welcome to Beauty Uncovered. Thank you for coming in. Imagine you're so busy.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, the book, I had read it from cover to cover. I gotta say, I actually was at first thought it was going to be a professional book because I looked at the chapters, but it really is for the everyday person to learn about hair. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, don't you think our clients sort of need a guide?
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm excited that there's a guide out there for them. And then I also did a few chapters for the professional as well. Did you like those?
Oh, I loved it. I feel like forgive me for the comparison, but I kept on thinking it the whole time I was reading it. While I was reading it, I was thinking about back in the mid 90s. One of these iconic books in makeup that came up, which was Kevin O'Con came out with the Making Faces, which was, so I'm reading it, and though it's a different type of book, I kept on thinking of that. I was talking to Joe Santi, which he wanted me to say hello. He's also reading it, and he was saying, I know exactly what you're talking about. It is like that book, that quintessential book that every person should have to understand hair and what the possibilities are, much like how it was for Making Faces. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, what inspired to it was really about educating clients?
Yes. Well, no, I mean, it was about, truthfully, it started off with an idea because so many people bring in their children wanting highlights at such a young age because they want to look like they did when they were younger, because they're losing their highlights.
No, that makes sense.
Right. So I thought in my head, well, duh, no wonder color is $1 billion business. It's anti-age. So we don't first start doing anti-age with creams and Botox. It's hair color.
No, absolutely. It's funny. My 11-year-old, who is really blonde, as he's getting older, he's getting darker and darker. And he keeps on saying, I want to have my blonde back, Mom. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So your philosophy is natural hair color from when you were a child, or maybe your child. So
that's your roots.
I know, right? Though I have to say, I was really, really dark.
Where?
Oh gosh, yeah. Level 5. That was very dark from the time I was very little. Yeah. Wow. But I say, here's my exception to the rule. Half my family is blonde.
Right.
So I can get away with it.
Right.
So I have to ask also, aside from being just, it's gorgeous. It's a nice coffee book, coffee table book to put on that coffee table. But what I love about it, aside from the information, it really is a coming of age story of your journey as a hairstylist. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in the industry, because it's fascinating.
Well, my first job in the industry was at Jean Juarez in Seattle. It was the coolest salon back then. And they were inside Nordstrom's, and they had an all men's salon at the Four Seasons Hotel, and they had an advanced training center, and they were sort of kind of all over the place. They had one in Bellevue. And so I got a job at the advanced training center, and I was doing laundry, folding towels, and sweeping up hair and offering people market spice tea. And I have never been happier being a maid ever in my life. I just loved it. It was so fun. So fun. And you
So
know
your
what's funny?
entire life you've been into hair.
I'm totally into hair. Yes. Yes.
Wow. So from there, I mean, that was before you went to go get licensed. That came later in your life, correct?
Oh, I was in high school when I had that
Oh
job.
gosh.
Yeah, I was in high school.
Which is actually a really nice thing to do when you think about it with high schoolers. I mean, to have that entry level to kind of really look at everything.
Yes, I wasn't paid. I just went. I
You
loved it.
weren't paid. You just, were you
No,
getting class credit at least?
yeah, I got class credit, but I was like, first of all, I was devouring all the haircuts, everything that they were doing, because it was the advanced training center. So people would come and pay money to learn. So I was learning, plus I was cutting everyone's hair at my high school. And I would just be like, always in trouble for not working, never good at paying attention ever. So, but I actually did do a great job there, but I had so much fun. Plus I was, up in everyone's business and, I just had the best time.
I got the impression
Salon life is perfect for me.
it's constantly moving, that's for sure.
Yes.
I feel like from reading it, I get the impression you were a little bit of an adventurous spirit because you just kind of picked up and left and went down to California just like that. I
Yes.
love that.
Yes.
I think at that age, you kind of have to have an adventure. I don't think I was. I was very shy.
Went on a road trip. It was great.
Wow. And then from there, you winded up getting into the industry in a very roundabout way. Can you
Mhm.
tell a little bit about that?
Well, I had several jobs, and my last job in a corporate situation was working at PMK as the receptionist. And even though I was such a good receptionist, just I don't know why I was just so miserable. So I I heard that Bette Midler was looking for a nanny, and not only did I love Bette Midler, but I also, the one job that I love the most is being a mom. And so it's basically being a housewife. That's what being a nanny is. It's being a housewife. And
Been there, done that.
I loved it. It was so fun. I used to pick up Sophie from school and pick up all her friends, and I would curate the best, tea parties, and just, I would make homemade cakes and snacks and dinners. And, as you know, I went to cooking school as well. So
Yes.
I just had the best time. It's such a dream job, as is being a mom. Being a mom is a dream job.
So you were with Bette Midler for quite a while.
Mhm.
And I find it, I'm really curious of what was that catalyst that made you go, I need to go to beauty school. I know that you had your son and everything like that, but that in a sense is even harder. I actually didn't go to beauty school until I was in my 30s and I
Mhm.
had kids. I had 3 kids. That was hard. I can't imagine what that was like. What made you suddenly decide that's it, I got to get it done?
Well, okay, so let's be honest here. There are a lot of people that get into our field because they don't know what to do. Well, I like getting my hair color done. I like getting my hair done. I like going to a hair salon, but we don't know if they have any talent, right? And they think that they can be trained. Well, they can be. And then then you have the people who just automatically somehow knew how to do hair. Like, my husband knows how to write a song, and I don't even understand that. Like, I don't get that at all. My son does too. It's the weirdest thing to me. I don't know how you could just write a song, but and some people don't know how I come up with what I come up with. And I say that I'm an idiot savant. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I love doing it. And I had a tough time watching other kids, like when we were all deciding which colleges we were going to go to or which vocational schools we were going to go to. I was a little worried, talking to other girls that were saying things like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll go to beauty school. And I was,
Mhm.
it can't be like that. It can't be like that. Like, you have to have some passion, but you know what? That shouldn't have deterred me from starting, like getting there right away, because I'll tell you what happens to those people. They either figure out that they have some underlying talent because that's why they chose what they chose, or they decide that they don't want to do it. It's no different. It is no different than going away to college, getting, you know, a degree in English, and then doing an internship over the summer and trying to decide what you're going to do.
And people
Like,
think beauty school is cheap. It is not cheap.
well, yeah, I chose the cheapest school I could find because first of all, someone paying for my school, first of all, I felt so bad that someone had to pay for my beauty school, and I didn't want to, choose the best one. So, but if you have a place to assist afterwards, it doesn't matter where you go to beauty school.
No, I found the same thing. I was going to say one of the first things I did was look up the best salons that I could find in New York and started applying like that. You
Right.
gotta assist. You gotta assist. Otherwise you can't
You're
go right to
lucky.
chair.
You were in New York. What
Yeah.
if you were in some small town somewhere where people didn't do that, where the people didn't assist?
It's not as easy. And then, a lot of people travel, but I do think that there are still a lot of great salons out there in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
But hopefully they have the kind of assistant program that is really driven on education. We were lucky. We had classes that we had to attend, and yeah, it was really great.
Where were you?
I was in a salon. Actually, it has closed down recently because he retired, but it was called Maximus. Richard Calcasola, who was the creative director for the United States of Intercoiffure at
I
one
don't even
point.
know how to even say all those words.
But yeah, no, they were a mainstay on Long Island.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I worked with Vivian McCander, and yeah, it was really awesome. It was a great salon.
That's great.
So I have to say that again, reading a lot of your going through, and the fact that you winded up even while you were in school in a really prestigious salon. Now this is what I wasn't sure about. Were you assisting there, or were you just again showing up and just being present?
At Art Luna,
Yes.
I was assisting.
Okay. Because you build up quite the clientele from there.
I did. But nobody gets to just go on the floor. If you are somebody coming from Portland or Dallas, Texas, and you have the most amazing career already, when you come to LA, you have to assist
Mm-hmm.
because you have no clientele and no one knows who you are and no one gives a shit who you are. So that is the bottom line. Although now with Instagram, and it's in my book, we did hire this guy, Chris Green from Canada. And he kept, I get a lot of people on Instagram that hit me up on DMs. And he wrote to me and said, that he'd love to come and work in LA. And I get so many of those. And I'm like, well, you should speak with Neil. I'm not in charge of any of that. And that is true. I'm not in charge. But he kept coming by and visiting. He would, on his vacation time, he would come down to Los Angeles and he would pop in and he'd say, hi, I'm Chris Green. And I was like, oh, you kind of look like you could be a cousin of mine, and we'd laugh and I just loved him. And he followed everybody at our salon and he was sort of friendly with everyone and he's just the sweetest guy, but he had a great Instagram.
It's funny that you say that, because one of the questions we have, actually viewer questions, we have listener questions. One of those questions was from Leslie at Claremont, California, was asking for an aspiring stylist. What do you look for in an assistant, and do you have them assist for a day or something like that?
No. What I'm different. I'm strange.
So you're usually not in charge of any of that. So you're not necessarily the person that's handpicking the people that would come onto your floor.
No, what happens is that when I interview, I get too personal and Neil says, Tracey, you can't ask those questions. And so They started going, I said, what do you mean? I just asked if their parents are divorced. And he's like, Tracey, you can't do that. You can't ask that. And so I'm like, ugh. So then they started doing my interviews for me. And I seem to find the most damaged people.
Well, I think as hairdressers, I think that we relate in that way, you know.
I do. I love damaged people. I love it. Like
I completely understand that. I completely.
No, but I also am a big help for damaged people, I think. So I just try to help them. And I remember once when I put, everyone kind of fights over who's my lead assistant. And they said to me, this girl was overqualified to be my lead assistant. She goes, you know what? I think it's really messed up that you put him in charge and he's the lead assistant. And I said, you know what? You would be the best lead assistant, but you know why I chose him? Because he needs help. He needs help to learn how to like organize and do all this stuff. So for him, it's kind of like a going to school. So, it doesn't matter who is my lead assistant. Oh, I'm so good at reading and writing and, organizing. No, that's not what's going to make you the best hair colorist in the world. You doing color is going to make you the best hair colorist in the world. And I said to her, stay in your lane, do your models and do them great. Practice, and don't worry about what I'm doing over here, trying to train this guy to become better at organizational skills. I mean, he just, and it worked. I just said to him, look, I chose you because you were probably the worst pick. But I want you to do is I want you to get a pad of paper and I want you to just write everything down. So why I'm saying this to you guys is if you hire somebody and they're a great colorist or a great stylist and you know that they're good, take the time to train them at what they're bad at, because it makes them more of a well-rounded person. And when you own a salon, you want to be able to put these people on the floor because that's how you grow your business. So I'm not so worried about the person who's like, I'm so great at everything. I'm looking for the person who can do some hair,
Oh, yeah.
And that's all I care about. That's all I care about. And then if I see that you need help in other ways, I will find a way to help you.
But I also imagine it also is like that interpersonal relationship. I mean, to be honest, at least most places that I've seen, you can be the most brilliant hair colorist in the world, but if you don't know how to handle people, you don't know how to communicate, you don't know how to have that back and forth with your customer or your client, you're mud. It doesn't matter how good you are.
Right.
So, I mean, again, it goes back to the book and how you're kind of giving that consultation for everybody before they even come in, which is awesome. Do you feel as though part of your business is the growth of your business has a lot to do with how you're dealing with your clients?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yes. You have to have a good relationship with your clients. And I always get up on stage and I always tell people, just imagine you're at your hair salon. How many times have you seen a colorist next to you that you don't think just did a great job on that customer, but that customer keeps coming back and back and back. And it's because that customer loves that stylist. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So we are definitely in the relationship business.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. Yes.
So when, say you're looking for a salon and you're looking for the right place to go, what are some of like the top 3 things that you think that client should be looking for?
The client?
Yeah. Someone that's coming into a salon and they're trying to find the right person for them.
So funny. I've never been a client. I don't know. I would find a salon.
Well, you figure,
I would look for word of mouth. I would look for word of mouth. And I would ask around if I saw somebody's hair that I liked, I would ask. I certainly wouldn't trust an Instagram photo because, you know, there's lots of magic you can do on those apps. And
Well, how did people, well, previously, everybody knows how to find you now, but previously, how did people find you?
word of mouth.
It was word of mouth.
It was word of mouth.
It's like you see someone with great hair and you go, where do you get your hair done?
Yes, it was word of mouth.
That is awesome.
We didn't have the internet when I was starting out.
Mm.
We didn't have cell phones when I was starting out.
Yeah,
I remember my friend Maureen kept saying, Tracey, you have to get a cell phone. I was like, I love my beeper. Like, get a cell phone. I was like, oh.
I don't know. There's something to be said for beepers. You know, you don't have to deal with it right then and there. You know,
I was the biggest holdout on the cell phone. Although when I worked with Bette Midler's nanny, we had a cell phone that was this big. And I used to
I know exactly what you're talking
take a
about.
cell phone with you just in case I need to get a hold of you when you have Sophie. So I'd have this cell phone that was like huge. So funny. But
Very funny. So
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do a couple of listener questions. We already got one from Leslie, and this time we're going to get Paula from Millbrook, Alabama. She wants to know what memory stands out from your very first job as a stylist.
as a colorist,
A colorist. I would say colorist.
well, that would be at Art Luna.
Mm.
What stands out about it?
Yeah. What's a memory of the whole time that you were at Art Luna? What is a memory that like, boom, is the first thing you think of when you were there?
I just remember I was assisting, and I was the only one in that fucking building with a baby. And I just felt that I had to work harder than anyone else, because I saw kids quitting their job because they didn't like how someone spoke to them, or just whatever. I had to hold on to my job is what I'm trying to say. I had to hustle. I had to hold on to my job. And when I mean hustle, I mean I had to do models. So even though my boss said, oh, I'm going to take off Saturdays, that would have been a great opportunity for me to take off Saturdays. And instead, I thought it was an opportunity to showcase what I could do and what I had learned. Kind of like wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. It was like I'd been sitting, you know, holding foils and shampooing and conditioning and blow drying the clients. And, you know, the people around me, the other colorists and the other stylists, needed to see what I could do. So I asked my boss, I said, can I please come in and start doing models? And he said, absolutely. And I knew that he came in on Saturdays just to check in on the business. And one day he just said, my gosh, you're so good. I have to put you on the floor. So he was great. He put me on the floor, and I was so scared. I didn't know how I was going to take care of my son because I was no longer making an assistant salary. And I was so scared, as is everybody who gets on the floor. You're so afraid. You just don't know how you're going to do it. But I did it.
How long do you think it took for you to kind of build up a clientele where you felt like, I'm safe? Because that's scary. I remember that feeling. It's a really,
yes. Well, yes, I pray hard and I work hard, and I immediately built a clientele, and it was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
But you know what? When you work for a salon and you're not renting a chair, their mission is to build you a clientele.
Yes.
So when sometimes, you know, people who are renters go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're, you know, you give your employee a percentage. Well, that employer builds you, and they take a percentage because that's their, you know, when they called Art Luna to ask who they should see, they gave them to me, and I did my job, because people can give you people can recommend people to you, but you have to keep that clientele.
It's funny because like I've always said, I always liked working in a salon. I liked the camaraderie. I liked the fact that we were always trying to build each other up. Like we were constantly going from person to person and seeing what each other's doing and learning from each other. And everybody was so generous. And I now live in Florida, and it's a lot more common to have booth renting down here. So the booth renting to me was very isolating. It was harder. I liked being in a salon. I liked being with a team.
Yes, it's more of a teamwork. Yes.
Definitely. So I have one more question from our listeners. This one's kind of funny, actually. Shauna from Boise, Idaho asks, okay, I high key want to know what Lana Del Rey is like.
Oh, she's heaven. She
Is
is
she?
so amazing. Oh my gosh, I just absolutely love her so much.
How long have you been doing her hair?
I don't even know, but for a long time, and I love her so much. She is just such a real person. She's not a diva. She's a real, she's a poet. She's a real,
You can tell by her music, that's for sure.
yeah, she's a real artist. She's a real artist. She's not something that was packaged. She is what she is. She's just amazing. And we're all in love with her. All
That's
of us.
awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. So I'm going to
You can see it in my book if you buy it.
yes, definitely. Oh, and I have to like give a shout out to all those pictures. What oh, I'm sorry. I love the way you organized it from different types of colors, but right down to one of the things that she did was get pictures from her clients, but also pictures from when they were kids so they could see how the color is reflected. And I think that every single person should be going out and looking for their childhood pictures and take a look at it and say, hey, is that me? Because I think it might be.
Yes.
It's a fantastic, fantastic book. And again, I feel like everybody should go out and get it. I feel like this is like the Bible of hair. It's a fantastic book. And thank you so much for sharing about it.
Thank you.